Hey guys, welcome to day 2 of your flipped math classroom. This is me, Mr. Haddad, and today we're actually going to do math. We're going to, you're going to watch this video on a one-step adding and subtracting equation problem. So, just a quick suggestion for you. Some people like to listen before they write. So if you want to press pause, you can press pause at any time. My suggestion is to press pause once the problem is done, and then you can go ahead and write it down while it's on pause. Press play right after so you can go to the next problem. So we're going to go ahead and get started with number 1. Number 1, we have n plus 5 equals 14. Now, the variable n needs to be by itself. When you're solving for a variable, you're getting it by itself. What's making this variable not be by itself is that it's being added by 5. Whatever you have, what you need to do is do the opposite. So since it's n plus 5, the opposite of that is subtracting 5. So we're going to subtract 5. But again, whatever you do to one side, you have to make sure you do to the other side of the equal sign so that it stays balanced. So you can see that the positive 5 and the negative 5, those will cancel each other out because they are opposites. Now you're going to be left with just n on the left side. On the right side, you have to do a little bit of math. You just got to add these together. So what is 14 and negative 5 put together? That gets you a positive 9. All right. Now, n is by itself. Therefore, n is solved for. All right. Now, what I'm going to ask you guys to do, and you're going to have to do this for every problem, you're going to have to check your work. Now, the way that you check your work is you take your original question, and instead of n, instead of the variable, what you want to do is you want to put parentheses. So what we have here is n plus 5 equals 14. I want you to rewrite this as parentheses plus 5 equals 14. So that n that was there is no longer there. You put parentheses. Now, we're going to put what n is equal to, what we found it to be, so that we can check it. We're going to put 9 in there, and then we're going to go ahead and solve the left side of this. So all we got to do is add 9 and 15 or 9 and 5 together. That gets you 14. Since we have 14 equals 14, this is the answer to, I'm sorry, 14 is not the answer. This is checking the answer, telling you that 9 is the actual solution. All right? Now, for number 2, oh, by the way, if you need a pause right now to catch up, I would recommend you do that. And then after you're done writing, then you can press play so we can go to number 2. So, number 2, we have 20 plus x equals 15. So what's being done to the x? It's being added by 20. Now, I'm not talking about that plus sign in between them. I'm talking about what's in front of the 20. What's in front of the 20 is an invisible plus sign. So we have to get rid of that positive 20 by putting a minus 20 there. Okay, because that's going to take the two 20s, the positive and the negative 20, they're going to cancel each other out. Okay, leaving you with x on the left side, and on the right side you have 15 minus 20. Yes, you can use your calculator if you need to, but I like to think about money. So if it's a positive 15, that means you have $15 with you. The negative 20 means that you owe somebody $20. So if you have 15 and you owe someone 20, once you give them that $15, you now owe them 5. Since you still owe money, it's going to wind up still being in the negative. So x equals negative 5. All right, x is by itself. That means you solved for it. Okay, x is alone. Now we're going to go ahead and check this. So just like we did in the first one, to check, what we need to do is we need to write the original problem, but instead of x, we're going to put parentheses there. So we're going to put 20 plus parentheses equals 15. Now we found out that x was negative 5, so that's what's going to go into the parentheses so that we can check this. And then that's going to give us 20 plus a negative 5 is 15. 15 equals 15. That tells me that the answer is negative 5. Okay? Again, 15 is not the answer. 15 is just checking the answer. You got x equals negative 5 is the actual answer for this. All right, number 3. You have 22 equals d plus 10. All right, now what's being done to the variable, and the variable being d? What's being done to it is being added by 10. How do we get rid of adding by 10? We subtract. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides. You can see on the right side that the 10s will cancel out, leaving you with D. And then on the left side, 22 minus 10, that's going to wind up being 12. So 12 equals D. Now let's go ahead and check our answer. When we check our answer, we're going to have 22 equals parentheses plus 10. Inside the parentheses, we're going to put what D was, which is 12. On the right side, you see it says 12 plus 10. That gets you 22. 22 equals 22. Therefore, the answer is 12 because it checked. All right. Now, number 4, you're going to have to do this one on your own. There's some space on your notes for it. So go ahead and do it and make sure you check it. I am going to make sure that you did this when you show me the notes tomorrow. So go ahead and do that right now. All right, number 5. Now, number 5 looks kind of funny because we have a plus and a minus in there. Now, whenever you have something like this, it says b plus a negative 11. If you're ever adding a negative number, what you need to do is understand that adding a negative is the same thing as subtracting. Now, b plus a negative 11 can be rewritten as b minus 11 equals 23. Again, if you're adding a negative, it's the same thing as subtracting. And if you think about multiplying, what happens when you multiply a positive and a negative together? You get negative. So there's your negative 11. All right, so it makes it look a little bit easier, and it tells you exactly what you need to do. What we need to do here is we need to add 11 to both sides. When you add 11 to both sides, those cancel. You get b equals 38. All right, let's go ahead and check this. Let's make sure this works. Now, you're not going to plug it into the second line, which is the b minus 11. You want to keep it as in the original. So what I'm going to write for my checking part is parentheses plus negative 11 equals 27. Right? That parentheses represents the b, and the plus negative is still in there. So let's go ahead and put the 38, and then you can plug that first part in your calculator. 38 plus a negative 11 gets you 27. 27 equals 27. Therefore, the answer is 38. Okay? Now, in number 5, it was a positive and a negative. In number 6, you have 2 negatives. All right? Now, a little trick that I tell my students is to squint their eyes. Look at the negative, parenthesis negative. Squint your eyes really tight, and what does it look like? Now, to me, it looks like a big plus sign because that's what it actually turns into, because a negative times a negative is positive. So the way I like to illustrate this is I will connect the negatives together, making a horizontal line, and then I'll put a vertical line by the parenthesis, so it turns into a big plus sign, which is what it looked like when you squinted. All right, now I can rewrite this as h plus 4 equals negative 8. All right, it makes it a lot easier. It turns this 9th grade problem into a 7th grade problem. How do we solve the 7th grade problem? Well, we're going to subtract 4 from both sides so that the 4's cancel. You're left with h on the left side. On the right side, negative 8 and negative 4, you have to think about owing 2 different people money. So if you owe someone 8 and you owe someone 4, you owe $12. So that's why we have negative $12 as our answer. Now, just to be on the safe side, let's check our answer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put parentheses minus parentheses negative 4 equals negative 8. I'm going to go ahead and put that negative 8 in there. So negative 12 minus parentheses negative 4 turns into negative 8. So negative 8 equals negative 8. Therefore, negative 12 is the answer. All right, are we ready for number 7? If not, press pause. Finish writing number 6. Here is number 7. Number 7, we have n plus parentheses minus 50 equals negative 25. All right, now it looks just like number 5 with the plus and the minus in there. So what we need to do is we need to rewrite this as n minus 50 equals negative 25. Okay, how do we get rid of a minus 50? Again, you do the opposite. So the opposite of subtracting 50 is adding 50. The 50s cancel. You have n equals, you owe me a quarter and you have 50 cents. All right, once you give me one of those quarters, you still have a quarter left over. So that's the kind of mentality you're thinking about when you're doing this problem. So n equals 25. Let's just check now. So we have 25 plus a negative 50. Put that together, we get negative 25. So we get negative 25 equals negative 25. All right, so now this page was showing you guys the different kinds of ways you could see the different signs. So like number 5 and 7 were a plus, a minus. Now for number 6, you have a negative and a negative. Same thing's going to happen for number 8, which you are going to do on your own right now. All right, number 9. Number 9 looks kind of silly because we got a bunch of negatives in there. But again, if you see negative parenthesis negative, you can change that to a big plus sign. So connect the negatives together, all right, and then put a vertical line. There's your big plus sign. All right, and guess what? We have another set on the other side. So connect the negatives together and then make a big plus sign. All right, now you can rewrite this problem. This winds up being negative 7 plus v equals 13. Now that made it look a lot simpler to me. Okay, so now looking at the v, now it looks like it's an addition problem, but really it's a subtraction problem because what's in front of the 7? What's in front of the 7 is a negative. How do you get rid of a negative 7? You have to add 7. All right, so we're going to add 7 to both sides. You can see that the negative 7 and the positive 7 cancel each other out. 13 and 7 put together get you 20. V equals 20. So let's go ahead and check our answer. Let's check it in the original problem. So we have negative 7 minus parentheses negative 20 and then negative parentheses negative 13. All right, if you plug that in your calculator, if you plug the left side in the calculator, you wind up getting a positive 13. And on the right side, if you put negative parentheses negative 13 in your calculator, you get a positive 13. 13 equals 13. Therefore, this is correct. All right. Last one we're doing together is this one. So 10 plus k equals negative 18 minus a negative 18. So negative parentheses negative becomes a big plus sign. We're going to go ahead and rewrite this. This is 10 plus k equals negative 18 plus 18. Negative 18 and positive 18 are opposites of each other. So if you add them together, you wind up getting 0 because they cancel out. So now we have 10 plus k equals 0. All right, and then you're going to have to subtract 10 from both sides. And when you subtract 10 from both sides, you get k equals negative 10. Quick check for you. Put the negative 10 in there. 10 plus a negative 10 is 0. And then negative 18 minus a negative 18 gets you 0. Therefore, the answer is negative 10. All right, here's number 11. This is going to be a doozy. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Make sure you write it down. And see you guys tomorrow. All right, thank you.